What really makes someone attractive, not just physically, but deeply? The kind of attractive that pulls people in, makes them remember you, think about you long after you've left the room. The kind that changes how people treat you, talk to you, and even respect you. It's not about being born with perfect features or wearing designer clothes. You've seen it yourself. People who aren't the best looking by society's standards, but somehow they draw everyone in. There's something about them, a quiet confidence, a magnetic energy, a presence that doesn't beg for attention, but commands it. And here's the truth no one talks about. That kind of attraction is built, created, forged by the way you live, the way you think, the habits you carry every single day. Attraction is not luck. It's not something you either have or don't. It's a reflection of your inner world, your beliefs, your discipline, your standards, your self-respect. That's what people feel before you say a word, because real attraction starts with energy, and energy doesn't lie. People are always reading you, consciously or not. They notice the way you walk into a room, the way you hold yourself, whether your eyes dart around nervously or hold steady like someone who knows exactly who they are. They can feel whether you're centered or trying too hard to be liked. That's the core. That's what separates someone who is temporarily impressive from someone who is undeniably attractive. And that's why this matters. Because when you understand this, when you shift from trying to look attractive to becoming attractive, you stop chasing approval. You stop seeking validation. You stop wondering if you're enough. And instead, you start showing up like you are. Attraction becomes natural, automatic. People sense it. They lean in without knowing why. And you stop fading into the background. You stop doubting yourself in conversations. You start walking through life with quiet confidence. And that changes everything. Your relationships improve. Your opportunities increase. Your sense of power grows. Because people treat you how you treat yourself. The habits you carry shape how the world responds to you. And here's the best part. Anyone can develop this. You don't need to be born with it. You build it, brick by brick, habit by habit. There's no mystery, just mastery. Small, powerful shifts in the way you think, speak, move, and show up every day. Most people never realize this. They chase external solutions, more stuff, more compliments, more followers, trying to fill an inner gap. But that gap can't be filled from the outside. It gets filled when you start building yourself from within. This isn't just about being liked, it's about being undeniable. And yes, people will be drawn to you. They'll admire you, respect you, even feel something they can't explain. But more than that, you'll feel it. The shift, the inner strength, the quiet certainty that you don't need to perform. You just need to show up fully as yourself. This is the path to real attraction. Not fake charm, not temporary appeal, but the kind that sticks. The kind that changes lives. And if you stay with this message, if you really hear it, not just with your ears, but with your soul, you'll walk away with more than just tips. You'll walk away with power. The kind of power that can change your life. Because the habits that make you attractive aren't surface-level tricks. They're tools for transformation. Tools that help you become someone people are drawn to. Not because of what you have, but because of who you are. And that is what people remember. Not perfection, but presence. Not performance, but authenticity. So if you've ever doubted yourself, if you've ever felt invisible, overlooked, or not enough, this is your moment to change that. Not by trying harder, but by becoming real. And once you do, once you start living like that every day, everything around you shifts. Attraction becomes effortless. Confidence becomes natural. And you become unstoppable. Most people don't realize how much their life is shaped by habits. Not just the habits they see, but the ones they don't even think about. The silent patterns running in the background, controlling how they show up, how they speak, how they feel about themselves. Every day you're practicing something. You're either practicing confidence or insecurity, discipline or doubt, self-respect or self-neglect. And whatever you practice long enough becomes who you are. This is why attraction isn't just about how you look. It's about what you repeat, what you train yourself to become, what you do when no one's watching. That's what shapes your energy. That's what people feel before you say a word. Because you can't fake self-worth. You can't fake presence. You can't fake the feeling of someone who knows their value. but you can build it. And you do it through your habits. Think about it. Every habit you carry is either building you or breaking you, either making you stronger or silently pulling you down. And most people never stop to question them. They drift, they react, they do what's easy, and then wonder why they feel invisible. But the ones who stand out, the ones who have that glow, that spark, that edge, aren't special. They've just made a different choice. They chose to be intentional, to build habits that reflect who they want to become, not who they've been. Because here's the secret. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. You can want connection, success, respect, admiration, but if your daily habits are rooted in fear, self-doubt, or laziness, that's the energy you radiate. That's what people respond to. That's the silent message you're always sending out. But change your habits, and you change the signal. You start to carry yourself differently. You speak with more clarity. You stop shrinking in rooms where you used to feel small. And people feel it. They may not even know why, but they're drawn to you. Not because you're louder, not because you're trying harder, but because your energy is aligned. It's centered. It's powerful. That's the beauty of this process. It's not about pretending to be someone else. It's about stripping away everything that's not really you. All the fear, all the overthinking, all the habits that keep you playing small. You weren't born to be average. There's a version of you that's bold, that's clear, that walks into any space and knows they belong there. Not because they're better than anyone, but because they've done the inner work. And that version, it's already inside you. It's just waiting for you to commit, to stop living on autopilot, to stop chasing quick fixes and start building the foundation. Because no one sees your habits, but they feel them. They feel the results of your discipline. They feel the calm that comes from someone who takes care of their mind. They feel the strength in someone who's shown up for themselves every single day. This is what makes you magnetic. Not the surface, not the noise, but the substance. And here's what's powerful. You don't need to change everything overnight. You just need to start. One choice, one commitment, one new standard for how you live, speak, move, and show up. That's the shift. That's when people start to notice something different about you. They can't explain it, but they feel safer around you, more inspired, more curious. Because your habits have transformed your energy, and energy doesn't lie. So don't ask, how do I make people like me? Ask, what habits would someone who respects themselves deeply live by? Ask, what would I do each day if I believed I was already enough? Ask, what would it look like to stop trying to impress and start becoming undeniable? You already have the answers. You already have the power. You just have to move. Because the real reward isn't just that people find you attractive. It's that you start to feel powerful in your own skin. You stop second guessing. You stop apologizing for who you are. And you start walking through life with a quiet fire that never fades. That's what these habits give you. Not fake confidence, not temporary attention, but deep, lasting presence. And when you carry that, the world takes notice without you ever needing to say a word. You can feel it when someone walks into a room with real confidence. Not arrogance, not ego, just calm, grounded energy. They don't have to speak loudly. They don't need to dominate the space. They just are. And that presence, that quiet, steady confidence, it starts with something so simple, so overlooked, that most people miss it. Eye contact. Not forced, not aggressive, just real. Because the eyes speak before the mouth does. They say everything. Your comfort level, your confidence, your sense of self. When someone looks you in the eye, steady and calm, without flinching or shrinking, it sends a powerful message. I see you. I'm not afraid. I know who I am. And that message is magnetic. Most people avoid eye contact without realizing it. They glance away too quickly. They scan the room. They look down at their phones. And with each little movement, they send signals of doubt. They shrink themselves without saying a word. Not because they want to, but because they've trained themselves to disconnect. Out of fear. Out of habit. Out of years of conditioning that told them not to take up too much space. But if you want to change how the world sees you, you have to start by changing how you see yourself. Holding eye contact isn't just a technique, it's a declaration. It says, I'm here, I'm present. I'm not running from this moment. And that kind of presence, especially in today's distracted world, is rare. That's why it stands out. When you train yourself to meet someone's gaze, not with tension but with ease, you immediately raise your value. You project security, and people feel safer around you, more connected, more drawn in, because eye contact creates trust, it creates intimacy, it shows strength without needing to say a single word. But here's what's even more powerful. It's not just about how others see you, it's about how you feel. When you start practicing steady eye contact, you feel a shift inside. You start to notice your breath. Your posture straightens. Your mind slows down. You stop trying to escape the moment and begin to own it. And that shift changes everything. Because it's not just about social confidence. It's about internal alignment. When your body, your eyes, your energy are all saying the same thing, you feel in control. You feel grounded, and that grounding gives you power, real, lasting power that can't be faked. It doesn't matter if you're shy. It doesn't matter if you've struggled with confidence in the past. Eye contact is a habit. It's a muscle. And like any muscle, it grows with practice. You don't need to stare. You don't need to be intense. You just need to be there, calm, open, present. And when you do that consistently, something incredible happens. People respond differently. They start to listen more. They take your words more seriously. They feel more connected to you, not because you're louder or flashier, but because you're real. We live in a world that's constantly distracted, constantly moving, constantly avoiding real connection. But eye contact is the fastest way to cut through all of that. It grounds you. It brings you back to what matters. Human presence, human power, human truth. So if you've ever felt overlooked, underestimated, or unheard, start here. Look people in the eye, not to prove something, not to perform, but to remind yourself that you belong, that you are worthy of being seen, of being heard, of being taken seriously. Every time you meet someone's gaze, you reinforce that belief. You tell your nervous system, this is safe, I can handle this, I don't need to hide anymore. And the more you do it, the stronger that message becomes. Because at the core of every truly attractive person is one truth. They are comfortable with being seen. Not because they're perfect, but because they've made peace with who they are. They've stopped apologizing for their existence. They've stopped dimming their light to make others comfortable. And it all starts with something as simple as meeting someone's eyes and not looking away. This habit will challenge you. It might feel uncomfortable at first, but lean into it. Stay with it. Train yourself to hold that space, because the reward is bigger than you think. You'll start to feel more confident, not just socially, but internally. You'll feel stronger, more focused, more in control of your life. And that energy will radiate through everything you do. Because when you can look someone in the eye without fear, without shame, without needing to prove anything, you've already won. You've already become the kind of person others are drawn to. And most importantly, you've become the kind of person you can be proud of. The moment you start owning your presence, everything begins to shift. People notice. Opportunities start to appear. But there's something deeper that holds all of this together, something that separates temporary confidence from lasting power. It's how you speak to yourself when no one's listening, your inner voice. That constant stream of thoughts, judgments, doubts, and beliefs. That voice is shaping you every day. It's deciding how you walk into a room, how you look at others, how you respond to setbacks. And most importantly, it's shaping how you feel about who you are. Because no matter how confident you try to look on the outside, you can't hide from the story you're telling yourself inside. If that story is rooted in fear, insecurity, or self-criticism, it leaks into your energy. People can't always explain it, but they feel it. Something's off, something's hesitant. That hesitation is the result of a belief, one that says you're not enough, not ready, not worthy. And that belief is a lie. But here's the truth most people never hear. You have the power to rewire that voice. You have the power to change the script. You are not your thoughts. You are not your past. You are not the labels the world gave you. You are the one who decides what gets to stay and what gets rewritten. Attraction, confidence, presence, it all starts with how you speak to yourself in the quiet moments. That's the foundation. That's where everything is built. And if your foundation is built on disrespect, you will never feel whole. Because here's the truth. If you disrespect yourself internally, the world will follow. If you speak to yourself with shame, the world will mirror that back to you. But when you begin to speak to yourself with power, with truth, with love, not softness but strength, you change the frequency you live on. Self-respect is magnetic. People are drawn to it because it's rare. It's not loud. It's not boastful. It's calm. It's grounded. It's secure. It says, I know who I am, and I don't need you to validate it. That's what makes you stand out. That's what draws people in. But it starts within. Start noticing the words you use when you talk to yourself. Start catching the patterns. That sigh when you make a mistake. That silent insult when you look in the mirror. That hesitation when you're about to speak up. That's where the battle is. Not out there, in here. And if you want to shift your life, if you want to walk with true confidence, it's time to stop tearing yourself down. Not in some vague, feel-good way, but in a real, consistent, powerful way. Every day, every moment, training your mind like you train your body. Because every time you choose a better thought, you strengthen the muscle of belief. You take back control. You stop being a prisoner of the past and start becoming the architect of your future. And here's the most powerful part. When you truly respect yourself, you stop tolerating things that drain you. You stop shrinking to fit places you've outgrown. You stop explaining your worth to people who were never meant to see it. You set boundaries without guilt. You walk away from chaos without apology. You move forward without waiting for permission. That's real power. That's real attraction. Because people are drawn to those who have clarity, who know their value, who live from it, not in ego, but in truth. You don't have to prove anything. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be real. And being real means honoring yourself, even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. Speak to yourself like someone you're responsible for, someone you care about, someone who matters, because you do. And every time you do that, every time you choose power over doubt, clarity over confusion, self-respect over self-abandonment, you become stronger, not overnight, not instantly, but deeply. And the world will feel it. People will look at you and sense something different. Or they won't be able to name it, but they'll feel your energy, your alignment, your quiet power, because when you speak to yourself with truth, you begin to walk through life with truth. And there is nothing more attractive than that. When you start to treat yourself with real respect, something inside you wakes up. You stop settling. You stop begging for approval. And you begin to act like someone who actually matters, because you do. But there's one more piece that most people ignore. One more layer that takes everything deeper. It's not what you say. It's not even what you think. It's what you do when no one's watching. Your standards. Not the ones you talk about, the ones you live by. Because the truth is, the world doesn't respond to your intentions. It responds to your standards, what you tolerate, what you accept, what you demand from yourself every single day. And most people set their standards based on comfort, based on convenience, based on what everyone else is doing. So they live a life that's average, empty, invisible. They never step into who they really are because they're too busy blending in. But the ones who rise, the ones who carry real presence, they don't live by default. They raise their standards and never drop them. Not for comfort, not for company, not for anything. They decide what kind of energy they want to bring into the world. And then they hold themselves to it every single day. That's what makes you powerful. That's what makes you magnetic. Because when your standards are high, your energy is high. Your words carry more weight. Your actions mean more. And people notice. They feel it when you walk in the room. But here's what's important. Raising your standards isn't about being perfect. It's about being clear. It's about deciding what kind of life you're no longer available for. What kind of mindset you're no longer entertaining. What kind of people you're no longer chasing. It's about protecting your peace like it's sacred, because it is. You can't afford to live sloppy and expect your life to feel sharp. You can't keep making excuses and expect to feel powerful. You can't keep lowering your standards and expect people to treat you like you matter, because they follow your lead, always. If you show the world that you're okay with being disrespected, they'll believe you. If you show the world that your time isn't valuable, they'll waste it. If you treat your goals like a hobby, the world won't take you seriously. So raise your standards. Raise them in how you speak, in how you carry yourself, in how you wake up in the morning, in what you accept from the people around you. You don't have to announce it. You don't have to explain it. You just become it. Let your energy do the talking. Because real attraction starts when you start living like your life matters. Not in theory, but in action. When you start saying no to what drains you. When you stop chasing people who don't value you. When you stop pretending to be less than you are just to keep others comfortable. You are not meant to be average. You are not built to blend in. There's something rare inside of you, but the world will only see it when you decide to live like it's real. Raise your standards for how you think. Refuse to entertain thoughts that belittle you. Raise your standards for how you treat your body, your time, your energy. Because when you hold yourself to a higher level, everything around you starts to shift. You attract better. You feel stronger, you move differently, and yes, it will be uncomfortable. You'll lose people. You'll feel alone at times. But that space you create, that space is where growth happens. That's where clarity comes. That's where power builds. You weren't meant to stay where it's safe. You were meant to expand, to evolve, to rise. So stop lowering yourself to fit into places you've outgrown. Stop apologizing for your standards. They are not too much. They are a reflection of your self-worth. And if someone can't meet you there, let them go. Because the people who are meant for you will rise with you. They will match your energy. They will respect your time. They will see your value. Not because you convinced them, but because you embodied it. That's the kind of life you build when you stop negotiating with your old self. That's the kind of presence that doesn't just turn heads, it changes lives. So ask yourself right now, what have I been tolerating that's keeping me small? What have I been accepting that's draining my power? What would it look like to stop waiting and start leading? The answers are already inside you. Now it's time to live them. Raise your standards, quietly, boldly, fully, and watch the world respond in ways you never imagined. When you begin to raise your standards, something incredible happens. You start shedding layers that no longer belong to you. Old habits, old beliefs, old versions of yourself that kept you small. And one of the most powerful shifts in that process is how you show up when you think no one's paying attention. It's easy to be impressive for a moment, to post something inspiring, to talk about discipline, to share quotes about confidence. But your real value isn't in what you post, it's in what you practice, especially when no one is watching. That's where integrity is born. That's where true attractiveness is formed, not from appearance, but from alignment. When your actions match your words, when your habits match your goals, when your energy matches your standards, you become undeniable. People feel it. Not because you say it, but because you are it. Discipline isn't just about doing hard things. It's about proving to yourself over and over again that you can be trusted, that your word means something, that when you say you'll do it, you do it. And that trust builds power, not just outward success, but inner strength. It shapes your posture. It sharpens your voice. It refines your presence. Because the most magnetic people in the world are the ones who are at peace with themselves. They don't need to chase validation. They don't need to convince anyone. They're steady. They're focused. They're consistent. And that consistency is rare. Everyone wants results. Few are willing to build the foundation. But if you want to stand out, if you want to be truly powerful, stop looking for shortcuts. Start falling in love with the process. Fall in love with showing up when it's boring. Fall in love with choosing growth over comfort. Fall in love with the version of yourself that no one applauds yet, because that's the version that's building everything. That quiet discipline, that inner fire, that daily self-respect, it compounds. And over time, it changes how you carry yourself. You walk differently. You speak differently. You demand more from life. Not out of desperation, but because you know who you're becoming. It's not about being perfect. It's about being consistent. Because confidence isn't built in the spotlight. It's built in the shadows, in the early mornings, in the late nights, in the small choices that seem invisible, but shape everything. The food you choose when no one's watching, the words you speak to yourself when you're tired, the boundaries you set when it's easier to give in, these are the moments that define your future. You don't need motivation, you need a standard, and then you need to keep showing up for it, even when it's inconvenient. Especially when it's inconvenient. That's where real transformation begins. You start realizing that your habits are not just routines, they are declarations of who you believe you are. So if you want to become someone different, start doing something different. Start acting like the person you say you want to be. And don't wait for anyone to notice. Because this isn't about them. It's about you. It's about building something within you that no one can take away. That internal structure, that quiet fire, that relentless self-belief. When you live like this, your energy becomes unshakable. People may not always understand it, but they'll feel it. They'll feel your presence, your power, your discipline. You become a force, not because you're louder, but because you're clearer. You don't move through life trying to impress. You move through life with intention, with grace, with strength, and that strength becomes your magnet, because people are drawn to clarity, to purpose, to someone who lives on their own terms. So if you've been waiting to feel ready, stop. Readiness doesn't come before action. It comes from it. Start now. Messy, unpolished, uncertain. But start. Start waking up with intention. Start honoring your word. Start choosing actions that match the future you say you want. And then repeat it again and again until the world catches up to the standard you've already set. That's how you become more attractive, not by chasing approval, but by becoming the kind of person you can respect. The kind of person who doesn't break promises to themselves. The kind of person who keeps going when it's hard. The kind of person who doesn't need attention to know their value. Because that kind of presence can't be ignored. That kind of presence leads. The presence you build through discipline becomes your silent power. But there's another quality that sharpens that power, one that's often overlooked yet instantly felt. It's not just about how you look or what you say. It's about how deeply you listen. In a world full of noise, distraction, and performance, those who listen with full attention are rare. And rarity is magnetic. Most people hear to respond. They wait for their turn to speak. They're halfway present, focused more on how they'll appear than on what's being said. But when you show up fully, with presence, with stillness, with genuine curiosity, you stand out. Not because you try, but because you're real. Listening is respect in action. It tells others, I see you, I value your voice. And few things are more attractive than that kind of emotional intelligence. But this isn't just about listening to others, it's about listening to yourself. Because the truth is, most people have silenced their inner voice, not the voice of doubt, that one is loud, but the quiet voice beneath it, the one that knows what you truly want, the one that nudges you toward purpose, alignment, growth. That voice has been buried under noise, under expectations, under fear. But when you learn to get still, when you learn to listen without judgment, you begin to reconnect with your inner compass. And from that place, you make different choices, clearer choices, stronger choices. Attractiveness isn't just physical. It's energetic. And energy doesn't lie. When you walk into a room fully aware of who you are, fully connected to your purpose, fully tuned into the moment, you shift the atmosphere. You become someone others trust, not because you're perfect, but because you're present. That level of presence takes courage. It requires you to slow down, to stop performing, to stop chasing, and to simply be. But being fully present is one of the boldest acts of self-confidence, because it shows you're not afraid to connect. You're not afraid to be seen. You're not afraid to feel. Most avoid this. They hide behind distractions, behind performance, behind rehearsed versions of themselves. But the most powerful people you'll ever meet are the ones who are fully here. Not pretending, or not forcing, just grounded. And grounding is a habit, one you build by choosing silence over noise, clarity over chaos, intention over impulse. Every time you slow down enough to listen, really listen, you become more aware of your patterns, your energy, your impact. And from that awareness, you begin to lead yourself differently. You start recognizing the moments you've been reactive, the places where you've been disconnected, the times you've ignored your own needs to keep others comfortable. And with that recognition comes power, the power to shift, to realign, to rise. Listening is leadership. It's connection, it's depth. It shows you're not just present in body, but present in mind, heart, and energy. That's rare. And that's unforgettable. Because people don't remember surface-level charm. They remember the person who made them feel seen, heard, valued. The one who wasn't rushing to impress, but was grounded enough to care. So if you want to be more attractive, stop trying to prove something. Start listening to others, to your instincts, to the emotions under your reactions, to the truth you've been avoiding. Because when you listen deeply, you live deeply. You choose more intentionally. You speak more powerfully. You connect more honestly. And that kind of depth, it doesn't just attract others, it awakens something in them. Your presence becomes permission. Your stillness becomes a mirror. Your clarity becomes contagious. This is how leaders are born, not through force, but through presence. Not by dominating, but by understanding. Or not by impressing, but by connecting. So slow down, breathe, tune in. You don't have to chase attention when you command presence. You don't have to shout when your energy already speaks. You don't have to prove your worth when you embody it with every breath. Listen more. Speak with intention, move with purpose, and watch how everything begins to align. When you truly start listening to others, to yourself, to the silence beneath the noise, you begin to notice another truth. Your energy introduces you long before you speak. People don't respond to just your words. They respond to your vibe, to your emotional frequency, to the energy you carry into every space. And your energy is shaped by something simple yet powerful, how you treat yourself when no one else is around. Every time you speak kindly to yourself in moments of doubt, your energy shifts. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, your energy sharpens. Every time you honor your values, even when it's inconvenient, your energy deepens. That's the part no one sees, but everyone feels. You don't need to announce your worth. You need to live it. Because when your relationship with yourself is solid, it reflects in everything you do. You walk taller, not out of arrogance, but alignment. You speak slower, not because you're unsure, but because you're clear. You don't rush to prove anything because your value is already grounded inside you. And that grounded confidence is magnetic. It's not about being loud. It's not about controlling the room. It's about the calm, steady strength that radiates from within. The kind of energy that says, I don't need to be liked to be valuable. I already am. You can't fake that. It's built day by day through how you talk to yourself, how you hold yourself, and what you choose to focus on. If your thoughts are rooted in self-doubt, you'll shrink. If your thoughts are grounded in purpose, you'll rise. People notice when someone has done the inner work. You can see it in their eyes. You can hear it in their silence. You can feel it in their presence. Because they're not driven by ego or fear, they're driven by intention. And intention is rare. We live in a world full of noise, comparison, and distraction. But when someone shows up fully, not trying to impress, not trying to chase, just being real, you remember them because they give you permission to drop your guard, to breathe, to be. This is what makes someone truly attractive. It's not perfection. It's authentic power. Power that isn't performed, it's embodied. And you build that by consistently showing up for yourself. By choosing habits that align with your highest self, not your current mood. By feeding your mind with thoughts that build you. By letting go of what's heavy and no longer serves you. You can't rise while clinging to what's breaking you. You can't lead while hiding from your own truth. You can't attract what you truly want while living like you don't deserve it. So ask yourself, what am I holding on to that's draining my energy? What thoughts, habits, or people am I entertaining that keep me stuck in an old version of myself? Let it go. Let go of the need to be understood by everyone. Let go of the fear that keeps you playing small. Let go of the habits that numb your potential. Let go of the inner voice that says you're not enough. You are. And the moment you start living like it, everything begins to shift. Your energy becomes lighter, but stronger. Your boundaries become firmer, but kinder. Your confidence becomes quieter, but deeper. You don't have to chase anyone. You don't have to prove anything. Just focus on becoming someone you respect, someone you admire, someone you trust. Because once you do that, the rest follows. You attract better not by wanting more, but by being more. By showing up differently. By elevating your habits. By embodying the energy of the life you desire. This is the kind of attractiveness that doesn't fade. It doesn't age. It doesn't require approval. It's rooted in how you treat yourself, how you carry yourself, and how deeply you believe in your own worth. And when that belief becomes unshakable, so do you. So stop waiting for the world to validate what you already know inside. Live like your energy matters, because it does. Every word, every action, every choice sends a message to the world about who you are. Make sure that message is powerful. Make sure it reflects the truth. Make sure it reflects the future you're creating, not the past you're escaping. You are the source. You are the shift. You are the standard. And the world will feel that the moment you do. Attraction begins within, but it's expressed through your decisions, through how you choose to live when life tests you, through the moments when no one's watching and yet you still choose to show up with excellence. That's the kind of character that radiates strength. And people feel it. They're drawn to it, not because it's loud or flashy, but because it's real. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, you build credibility with yourself. And the more you trust yourself, the less you seek permission from the world. That's freedom. That's power. That's what turns heads and changes rooms. Not noise, not attention, but alignment. The kind of alignment that can't be faked because it's forged in your daily habits. Your routine is a mirror. It reflects what you value. And if you want to be more attractive, don't chase approval. Chase consistency. Wake up earlier. Move with purpose. Speak with intention. Take care of your health. Build a system that elevates you, not one that drains you. Because your habits are not just actions. They are declarations of who you are becoming. And people sense that. They see when you walk with clarity. They feel when your presence carries purpose. They notice when you've made the decision to become exceptional in a world that accepts average. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to decide. Decide that you will no longer betray your potential for the sake of comfort. Decide that you will no longer hide behind excuses when you were built for excellence. Decide that you will rise even when it's hard, especially when it's hard, because your future depends on it. And when you live like that, everything shifts. Not overnight, not with a single leap, but with consistent steps, with small wins, with quiet victories that no one sees but you feel deeply. Confidence grows in the space between who you were and who you choose to become. And every time you follow through, you close that gap. You build momentum. You strengthen your foundation. You become more powerful, not because of external achievements, but because of internal alignment. People are drawn to that. They're drawn to those who live by principle, who know who they are and what they stand for, who don't shrink themselves to fit into places they've outgrown. And to become that, you must be willing to let go of everything that keeps you small. Let go of the story that says you're not enough. Let go of the belief that you need to be perfect before you start. Let go of the fear that whispers, "What if you fail?" And replace it with a stronger question, "What if I rise?" Because you will. You are not here to live a life of hesitation. You are not here to blend in. You are not here to live below your potential. You are here to lead, to grow, to rise, and to inspire, not by trying to be someone else, but by finally becoming all of you. So get serious about your standards. Raise your baseline. Create habits that match your ambition. Speak to yourself like someone worth building. Move through your day like someone with vision. Because vision is attractive, purpose is magnetic, integrity is unforgettable. And you build that not by waiting for motivation, but by honoring your commitments when no one else will. That's the difference between those who talk about change and those who live it. You are building something sacred, a life that reflects your truth, a mindset that protects your peace, a body that holds your energy, a future that mirrors your potential. And every choice matters. Your mornings matter, your thoughts matter, your effort matters. And the way you carry yourself when no one's clapping, that matters most, because those moments shape you. And the person you're becoming in those unseen hours is the one the world will eventually recognize. You don't need to scream for attention when your life speaks for itself, when your discipline becomes your language, when your energy becomes your message, when your habits tell the world, "I take myself seriously." That's not ego, that's self-respect. And when you start living from that place, everything around you shifts. People treat you differently. Opportunities open. Energy aligns. Not because life becomes easier, but because you've become stronger. Stronger in discipline. Stronger in clarity. Stronger in the quiet confidence that doesn't beg, chase, or convince. It simply is. That's what draws people in. That's what leaves a mark. That's what makes you unforgettable. True attraction is not a mask you wear. It's a reflection of how deeply you honor yourself and your journey. It's about showing up authentically with all your scars, strengths, doubts, and dreams. When you stop hiding and start embracing your full self, you create a magnetic field no one can resist. People are drawn to honesty, not perfection. They are captivated by courage, not by flawless appearances. The moment you accept yourself fully, you give others permission to do the same. That authenticity creates a powerful connection, a connection that transcends surface-level attraction and reaches into the heart. Self-acceptance is not passive. It is a deliberate choice to look in the mirror and say, I am enough. Not someday, not when I achieve more, not after I fix this or that. Right now, this moment is your power. This moment is where transformation begins. When you stop fighting yourself, you stop draining your energy on inner conflict. That energy becomes fuel. Fuel to build, to grow, to shine. Your true attractiveness grows exponentially when you stop chasing external validation and start cultivating internal approval. When you become your own biggest supporter, you radiate confidence without arrogance. This is the quiet kind of confidence that doesn't need to boast because it knows its worth. It doesn't need to compete because it trusts its place. It doesn't need to be liked by everyone because it knows that being true to itself is enough. This is where your presence becomes magnetic, not because you demand attention, but because you embody peace and strength, because you have made peace with your past, taken ownership of your present, and aligned with your future. You carry yourself with the grace of someone who has walked through storms and come out stronger. That resilience is deeply attractive. It signals that you are a person who can be trusted, who can lead, who can inspire, and the most powerful form of self-acceptance is vulnerability. Not weakness, but the courage to be seen exactly as you are. Vulnerability is the bridge that connects hearts. It dissolves walls. It invites others to lower their defenses and meet you in truth. People don't want perfect, they want real. They want to feel the pulse of your humanity, to recognize their own struggles and triumphs reflected in yours. Choosing vulnerability means risking rejection, but it also means opening the door to genuine connection. It means saying, here I am, imperfect and whole. And when you do that, you become a beacon for those seeking the same courage. You inspire others to live authentically, and in doing so, you attract people who resonate with your truth. This creates relationships built on trust, respect, and deep emotional connection. Relationships that are magnetic because they are real. You might fear that showing your true self will push people away. But the truth is, hiding your light has been holding you back far more. When you dim your authenticity to fit in or avoid judgment, you block the energy that draws others to you. You send a silent message that you don't believe in your own worth, and people pick up on that. But when you shine with unapologetic honesty, you attract those who see your value and want to be part of your journey. This kind of attractiveness cannot be bought, taught, or faked. It is earned through the daily choice to be yourself fully. It is built by forgiving your mistakes, celebrating your progress, and honoring your uniqueness. It's reflected in how you speak to yourself and how you allow others to speak to you. It's found in the boundaries you set and the compassion you extend to yourself and to those around you. So stand tall in your truth. Let go of the need to conform or please. Embrace your quirks, your passions, your flaws. They are the brushstrokes that paint the masterpiece of who you are. When you live like this, you don't just attract people, you inspire movements. You don't just gain followers, you create communities. Because authenticity resonates on a frequency that goes beyond attraction, it creates belonging. And belonging is one of the deepest human needs. When you give others permission to belong by belonging to yourself first, you unlock a power unlike any other. A power that transforms attraction from a fleeting moment into a lasting force. A power that turns connection into commitment. A power that changes not just how others see you, but how you see yourself. This is the foundation of magnetic presence, the essence of irresistible energy. The secret behind lasting attraction. It starts with you, your willingness to be seen, to be known, to be loved as you are. It starts with you, choosing truth over comfort, growth over fear, courage over approval. It starts with you, embracing every part of yourself and owning your story with pride. Because the most attractive thing you can wear is your authentic self, shining boldly in a world that often encourages hiding. When you do that, you don't just become more attractive, you become unforgettable. Your mind is the most powerful tool you have, yet it can also be the greatest barrier standing between you and the magnetic presence you desire. The stories you tell yourself every day shape how you move through the world. They dictate your confidence, your energy, your interactions. They either build you up or tear you down. And the truth is, most people live trapped in narratives that limit their potential without even realizing it. What if you rewired those stories? What if you consciously chose thoughts that serve your growth instead of sabotage it? This shift doesn't just change your mood for the moment. It rewires your brain to become a magnet for success, happiness, and yes, attraction. Your mind is not your enemy. It is a powerful ally when trained right. And training your mind starts with awareness, catching those limiting thoughts before they take root. When you hear the whisper that says, "I'm not good enough," pause. Challenge it. Replace it with a truth that fuels you, "I am capable of growth." When you feel the pull of comparison, remind yourself that your path is unique and valuable. When fear creeps in, acknowledge it, then choose courage instead. This is mental mastery, and it changes everything, because the brain is wired to follow your strongest beliefs. When you believe in your worth, you act from that place. You carry yourself differently. You speak differently. You attract differently. Science confirms this. The brain's neuroplasticity means it can rewire itself based on what you feed it. Every positive affirmation, every empowering thought, every moment of self-compassion strengthens neural pathways that boost your self-image and confidence. Over time, this becomes your default state, your natural way of being. This transformation is not about forcing yourself to think positively all the time. That's unrealistic and exhausting. It's about becoming the observer of your thoughts, choosing which ones to nurture and letting go of the ones that harm you. It's about building mental habits that support your highest self. Imagine walking into a room with a mind anchored in calm confidence rather than anxious doubt. Imagine engaging in conversations with curiosity instead of fear of judgment. Imagine your energy radiating from a place of self-assuredness cultivated by deliberate mental work. That's magnetic, that's attractive, and it's within your control. When you invest in your mental health and mindset, you're investing in your personal power. You're sending a message to the universe that you value yourself enough to grow. You're rewriting your story to one of strength, resilience, and limitless potential. This mindset shift also strengthens your emotional resilience. When life throws challenges your way, and it will, you won't crumble or retreat. You'll respond with grace and determination because you have trained your mind to focus on solutions, not problems. This kind of resilience draws people in. It signals stability and strength, the kind that others want to stand beside. Your thoughts influence your emotions, and your emotions influence your actions. When you break this cycle of negative self-talk, you unleash a new level of freedom. Freedom to pursue your goals without the chains of self-doubt. Freedom to show up authentically without the fear of rejection. Freedom to become the person you were always meant to be. So start today by noticing the quality of your thoughts. Question their truth. Replace doubt with belief. Replace fear with faith in your ability to grow. Feed your mind with knowledge, inspiration, and positive reinforcement. Guard it against toxicity and negativity. Your mind is the gateway to your greatness. Protect it. Nourish it. Master it. Because when your mind is aligned with your purpose, your energy becomes unstoppable. Your presence becomes undeniable. Your attractiveness becomes a natural consequence of your internal transformation. This is how you stop chasing and start becoming. This is how you become magnetic from the inside out. This is how you build a life that not only attracts others but inspires them. The power is in your mind. The power is in your habits. The power is in your choice. Claim it. Own it. Live it. Attraction isn't just about how you think or feel. It's also deeply rooted in how you carry yourself. Your posture, your movement, the way you hold your head, all of these send silent signals to the world about who you are and what you believe about yourself. The body speaks a language far older than words, one that taps into instinct and perception. And mastering that language can transform how others see you, and more importantly, how you see yourself. When you walk with your shoulders back and chest open, you're not just improving your physical presence. You're telling your brain and the world that you are confident, strong, and worthy. This simple act changes your physiology and releases powerful hormones like testosterone and reduces cortisol, which boosts your mood and self-assurance. It's science backing up what great leaders and performers have known for centuries. Your body posture influences your mind, as much as your mind influences your body. But it's not just about standing tall, it's about moving with intention. Every step you take, every gesture you make, every breath you draw contributes to the energy you radiate. Slow, deliberate movements convey calm and control, while rushed, erratic gestures can signal anxiety or insecurity. When you slow down and inhabit your body fully, you project a presence that commands respect and draws people in effortlessly. The way you use your eyes is equally powerful. Eye contact is one of the strongest tools of attraction because it creates connection and trust. But it's not about staring, it's about engaging. Holding someone's gaze with warmth and authenticity says, "I see you, you matter." It's a silent invitation to connect on a deeper level. People are naturally drawn to those who make them feel seen. Our smiling is another tool that transcends words. A genuine smile releases oxytocin, the hormone of bonding and trust, both in you and in those around you. It's an expression that disarms, invites, and uplifts. But authenticity matters here. A forced smile can feel like a mask. A real smile is a reflection of genuine warmth, and that warmth is magnetic. Your voice, too, holds immense power. The tone,